Representative Mindy Fee, and welcome to the Legislative Report. We're in the 37th District, and the 37th is actually comprised of 7 townships and 3 boroughs. So I have Denver Borough, I have Manheim Borough, and today we get to be in East Petersburg Borough with some of the lovely folks who serve this district. So I just want to take a minute, if we can go in and introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about what brought you to the borough and what role you play here. I think would be great. James Mayor, you want to start out for us?
Sure. So I'm James Andrew Malone. I'm mayor of East Petersburg Borough. I've lived here in the borough since November of 2011. Started attending council and everything because civic duty. And then once 2017 elections were running up, our former mayor Jeff had done 2 terms, didn't want to do a third. And so I stepped in and everybody was great pulling me in.
That's great. That's great. And John, you're the vice president of council.
That is correct. And what brought me to the borough was my parents when they decided to relocate to the borough to be closer to my father's work. And that was back in 1967. And so basically I've been here since I was 9 years old.
Isn't that great?
It's been a great place to live.
And you raised your children?
No, I have no children.
No children.
So
yeah, it's great.
Also a member of the planning commission and past chairman of the East Petersburg Events Committee.
That's wonderful. Lauren, and you're in the borough,
Yes.
and you do have children here.
I do, yes. We moved here about 12 years ago, so it was before kids, but we were trying to find something in this school district or possibly Penn Manor, because that's where we grew up. And at the time, the housing market was just so quick. Mm-hmm. And we came across the house here in East Pete, and it hadn't been on our radar, and it's awesome. Like, I go back a few years after I had our son, we got him enrolled in the local preschool here, and there are kids that when they were 2 years old, they are now in 4th grade this year as 9-year-olds, and they've been friends all these years. So you really build these community connections here.
You do. It's one of the things I love to talk about is our communities, right? And I think the boroughs really feed into that. I mean, there's something about being, you know, together in close areas. Because East Pete's 1.2 square miles?
About that, 1112.
Yeah, and has about 4,500 residents?
Yeah, it's a little over 4,500 now. I think last census it was just a little bit above 45.
Yeah, I think that's close to my other 2. Yeah, and when we talk about sense of community, there's a lot that goes on in these little boroughs, right? And it takes a lot of volunteerism. So first of all, I appreciate your willingness to serve. It's not always easy to get people to step up and serve right now, but it's an important role you play because what's the budget for the borough?
It was about 2.2 last year.
$2.2 million, yeah, of taxpayer funds, right? So we want to make sure we're spending them in the correct way. And Mayor, like we talked about a little bit earlier, there's a lot of requirements where those monies have to go, right?
Absolutely. So we were just discussing that wants versus needs, and you know, you have $4 and you have to spend 2, then you only have 2 more, one you need to save and one you have to figure out with, and having those open discussions with everybody to figure out how to do that. It's like we were saying, you can get really into the emotions versus what you need to do and having to manage that. It's an important thing to be able to do and be willing to try to do.
Absolutely. I do that on the state level, right? Like I say, every 15 minutes, I think my office has a new meeting in, right? With a new idea, new project, and some are fantastic. Great ideas, but I always go, okay, but what's our role as government, right? Mm-hmm. And it's the same on this level, right? And that's
Absolutely.
why hopefully we have a lot of different civic organizations that play a role here.
Some residents today have been here for 40-some years, and we have a historical society. We have Lions Club, which actually organizes the parade for East Pete Day. And there's Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We also have swim team, and East Pete Bulldogs football has been around several years, and so there's many residents that they're keeping those going.
Sure, they interact, right, too, right. And John has shown me some publications you have, so let's talk about this one. The first one is the 25th Annual East Petersburg Days coming up, right? So you put out a publications, and where these are just out in all the different businesses? And
Yes, it's all, the whole event's supported by donations from local businesses and such, so.
And tell me about all the different events that will take place in September.
In September, this weekend coming up, we have the Blues Fest, which will be over at the community park. And basically, there's a lot of blues musicians that will be coming to the event, and just a nice gathering. We partner with the, I believe it's the Pennsylvania Blues Society, put that on. And then the weekend after that, I believe it is, on Saturday the 14th is actually East Petersburg Day. And that'll be a whole day event starting off with the kids run at 8:30, then a 5K, then getting into the parade, and thus the parade ends at the community park. And it actually is a 3-day event that starts on Thursday night. It's when the carnival rides kick off with a wristband for $15 for all the rides you can ride.
Oh.
And then Friday night, it goes on Friday night, and concludes on Saturday evening with fireworks.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That brings out the crowds.
That East Pete Day committee, it's a separate 501c, C3.
Yep. See,
But they do the work on organizing it and pulling everything together, and so
Which
that
is a
good.
lot of work.
It is.
That
It is,
doesn't
and
come
they're
easy.
like everybody else, are always looking for volunteers.
Sure.
And one of the other things Lauren had mentioned too is like with the Boy Scouts, we have Trinity UCC down the road that sponsors them. We also have in the area, we have a memory support group that's run out of Magnolia, which is just across the way in East Hempfield.
What's that about?
So folks with family that have issues with dementia and
okay.
that kind of thing
Sure.
can get together and have a support group. So we have that in the area. But there are a lot of other programs like that. We have Power Pack programs that
sure.
are also sponsored
There-
by
it's a
different
great
churches
program.
here.
It really is.
So we have a lot of great stuff, and they're always looking for volunteers. So, pretty much if you're in the borough and you're tied to a church, they're probably trying to do something to help out. If you're not, there's tons of other places to help out if you want to. So
Boy Scouts always have their pancake breakfast over at East Pete Mennonite
Yeah,
Church.
sure.
There's like certain things. It's a very small town still, and it's awesome because as business owners we can advertise and it's on their menu. So it really is a lot of those small town things. And
Right.
I will say too, more recently there's a resident that's a veteran, and he has started a little, I shouldn't say little, but
Small,
a
right.
small support group that he's
Oh,
always
very
encouraging
important.
like
Sure.
to come out and
right.
People to work with our vets. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Yeah, well,
so
and the
important.
veterans together, it's like he says, there's nothing wrong with getting together in a bar, but they get together outside of one, and then
Absolutely.
they're trying to look at doing something, being more socially involved. So, and they're a great group of guys
And what-
and women.
Go ahead.
and there's events that start in May, on the first Saturday of May, through concluding in New Year's Eve in the square. So we have May, June, July, August, September, and October are first Saturday.
Yeah, you can always find an event. And I always love the banner, right, as you're driving down 72. It always lets you know what's happening in the borough. So one of the other things I always talk about is the history of our small boroughs. And you made up the book of a walking tour of historic East Petersburg, right?
Correct.
So is this a self-guided tour, and where can people get the books? And let's talk a little bit about this.
That one, I believe it was our previous mayor, Jeff Gagan, had been a major part of organizing that, getting all the information together. The Historical Society,
their membership had dwindled in some of the years, but there's many that have been residents here for 50 plus years. So it's been a bit of getting more people to become involved with that, but they've been doing a lot to fix the house that they work out of. It was purchased during a fundraiser a number of years ago. I think Gladfelder Barbershop, I think he was a big factor in purchasing the house too.
That's the David Wolf House.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
you'll be right next to it when you're
It's
at
about-
the Civic Center.
Sure.
I forget the exact number of years, but it's around 200 years old. But so they've been able to start doing some more renovations, and they're open once a month to have people come in. And every time I've stopped in, I learned something new. I didn't know there used to be a trolley that came off Hershey onto Main Street, and there's those little things that's like, oh, like,
Yeah.
no idea.
Yeah, you live here many
but it's
years
so
and you
awesome.
still go, wow.
Yeah, and there's also pictures of the train. There used to be a station down here for East Pete, and now it's over at the Strasburg Rail.
So the train station that used to be here that I was not aware of has moved out to Strasburg, but I wonder, as the history changed, what did that look like with the town?
Well, originally the land was purchased by a person named John Wolfe, who I'm not sure is an ancestor or not, back in the late 1700s, excuse me, and his son David Wolfe started laying the town out. But the area was originally part of East Hempfield Township, and it was incorporated in the borough in 1946. The reason it became a borough was because of a typhoid epidemic that was in the borough, and at the urging of several of the doctors in the town, they urged to have a municipal water system installed, and to be able to do that, it was incorporated as a borough.
Amazing, even infrastructure issues back then, right?
Correct.
Well, and I'll tell you, and as you talk about the people who've lived here forever, I mean, that's when I grew up. I remember when I used to take a friend over in the borough of Mannheim, right? And my grandmother would say, well, they got to go back generations to get, right?
Yeah.
to
Yes.
go brought together. So you haven't lived here forever. What do you think about the area? What's your feelings
No,
about Lancaster County and East Petersburg in particular?
Yeah, I love it. So I grew up out in Wyoming and followed work, and that's how I ended up here. Originally ended up in Pennsylvania and York, and then blended family here in East Petersburg Borough. And it's great. I mean, it's 28 minutes from York. It's 40 an hour, depends on how you drive, to Philadelphia, you know. So, I mean, it's really good. And there's walking everywhere here. That's one of the things I like doing.
I agree.
Walking out to Suns or walking.
Right. We have a trail that pretty much goes from one end of the borough straight down to the other end, and it ends at Village Commons.
Yep, sure.
But yeah, we're so convenient to Route 30, 283,
Yeah.
Manheim Pike, 741, and
Makes it
Fruitville Pike.
easy.
Like it's
Well, I
really
often
easy to
say
get
that
everywhere.
You can head south towards Lancaster and be anywhere or get anything you want in a short amount of time. You can head north and be out in cornfields in 5
Sure.
minutes. So
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
It's just a
We're
great
in a good
location.
little pocket.
Yeah, and convenient to a lot of things.
Yeah, and as you're talking about the Commons, that's where your business is
Yes.
located, right?
Yes.
And your business is?
The Growing Place Consignment.
Okay.
And children's and maternity clothing, and so that's also how I know so many parents and kids in the community.
I see a lot of faces there.
Yes, but it's really great. They had done a remodel a few years ago, and so there's some newer business in there. There was just like a small restaurant before, but now we have Mad Chef Brewing Company.
And
Craft
that's
brewing.
always busy. I mean,
It
there's a lot of
is, and it's
cars
so busy.
there,
They're
and yeah.
expanding now, and they're working on construction now, and they'll actually be attached to my side, and they're going to have a patio. And then there's been several other food businesses, and there's a gym over there now. So there's been a lot of things that have evolved in the last 5-10 years over there.
Yeah,
too.
and as council folks and mayor, I'm sure you interact quite a bit with your businesses, right? Is there any top issues out there right now, or is it, I mean,
I mean, I will say with the borough, there's not a lot of areas for retail. There is.
well, you're landlocked, right? I
Yes.
mean, when you're right
There's
over
a
1
limitation
square
for
mile,
that,
right?
and like one half of 72 is East Hempfield, and we're on the one side. So there's just that's a little limited,
Yeah,
and so we work with what we have.
sure, you do, and you get
And,
creative,
yeah.
and the fact that businesses here, like the Head Chef, can expand, it's a great thing.
And you had mentioned about, we're kind of landlocked, We have about 25 acres of land available for development, which is scheduled to be developed here within the next 5 years. So
Residential.
we are basically built out. It's residential development.
And that's the Traditions coming in, correct?
Traditions of America will be coming into a small area of the borough, which is it would be phase 3 of the overall project, with about 15 acres of that being in the borough. The rest is in East Hempfield Township.
And that's a 55-plus community.
That is correct. It's a similar, it is basically the same as what they originally built over in by Stauffer's.
Sure, by
outside of
Lytics, and I also have
Right.
it in my district over on 772 between Manheim and Mountjoy. Yeah, they're
Right.
great. Yeah, because housing is an issue. You talked about it years ago, but it's still an issue, and it's an issue for our young couples like my son and my son-in-law and daughter just bought a house in Manheim Borough, and to find a smaller, affordable first-time house isn't always easy, but in the boroughs is a great place to.
Yes, and it's been also too where some of the first owners have moved on to whether retirement community, and then their children now own it or sell it, and I think houses move quickly here, in my opinion, in my neighborhood especially. But there's some sections that they were all done in the 60s, and then there's other ones that were done towards the 80s. So, it's
Well, I think
developed to
with-
be a lot of residential.
I
but-
think with HGTV and all the renovations that our younger generation is so willing now to go in, right, to
Yes.
these little older
Yes.
homes and build out and start tearing down walls. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for your time, and we're not done in the borough yet. We're going to head over to the Civic Center and hear about all the great things happening over there. But again, I appreciate your willingness to serve, and I know you're open, and I encourage the folks in East Petersburg Borough to come to the meetings, right, and become involved. And
very
and-
informative.
Yeah.
We're always discussing things, and we're trying to come to the best decision, and we work as a group together on that. Yeah.
And that's how we learn what's important to the residents.
Absolutely, right? And where when that dollar out of $4 that you are able to spend, what should we spend it on? And you need to hear from the folks.
Right, absolutely.
And, we are the council people and the mayor that, are on the, I guess, the top tier thing, but we also have a top-notch, awesome borough staff team.
Oh, absolutely.
They're second to
Absolutely.
none, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's great is being a legislator is being able to pick up the phone and call my borough managers, right? Especially because I never served in the capacity of municipal government. But when there's legislation that comes before me, I love to be able to reach out to my folks. And I often just do it to the borough managers and go, hey, seriously, how will this really affect what's happening in East Petersburg Borough? Because what sounds like a great idea up in Harrisburg, not always such a great idea in my small communities, right?
Absolutely.
All right.
And we
Well,
appreciate what you do for us also.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for spending the time with me, and we'll head on over to the Civic Center next. After meeting with the mayor and our council presidents, we talked about the sense of community and how important that is to East Petersburg and to all my boroughs in the 37th district. So today we're here with Kent Rice, who helps lead the East Petersburg Area Civic Center, right?
Correct, yes.
So I remember 4 years ago, I was out here, helping
Scrubbing light fixtures,
scrubbing
as I recall.
light fixtures. Yeah,
Yes,
we
you
were
were.
trying to help get the place
Yeah.
cleaned up, and you're here on your 4th anniversary.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you really had a great vision, right? So tell us about your vision and how you think it has unfolded over the last 4 years.
Yeah, I think it was more a sense of a perception of need. My friend Linda, who runs the Geneva Cafe behind us, and I we would literally drive past this building and think, what's not happening here? And as we got to talking to people in the community, and we're both from East Pete, lived here over 20 years, we just felt like something needed to happen. And I don't know if it was so much a great vision as just, hey, someone's got to try. So we approached Real Life Church of God and said, can we come in and start doing stuff? And they said, absolutely. And it's been a great partnership ever since.
Yeah, that's great. What I'm finding is a lot of my communities are building and starting to build outreaches within, that aren't necessarily in the city of Lancaster County, but realizing that every little municipality has their own needs and their own issues. We had the Declaration House that just had a ribbon cutting up in Denver. Elizabethtown has Echoes. So,
Yeah.
And Manheim Central is Teen Central. So
Yeah.
it's fantastic. It's a great way to engage the community.
Yeah, and every community does have different needs, and that's important. I think if I heard a story the other day that, college kids will always kind of make their own paths. No matter where the sidewalks are, they'll just make these goat paths from building to building. I heard that, I don't know if it's true, but it's a good story that one college put up a student center and didn't do any paving. They waited to see where the paths were and then paved it. That's kind of what we've started to do. We seem to have a niche with single families, single moms with children who not only struggling to pay their bills, but just struggling with having enough days in the week. And so we're
Absolutely.
looking for programming and ways to come alongside them and their children.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Tell me right now, if you could get your wish list together of what you could have right now
Yeah.
for the Civic Center, what would it be? Like,
Right now we need some leadership. Okay, so it's easy to start something. I was thinking of rockets when they take off, the boosters are firing and it's exciting and people are clapping. But after a certain period of time, by design, they sort of burn out and the next phase kicks in. And we need some people to come alongside our board of directors who have a sense of business and sustainability, while still being sensitive to the fact that we don't want to just do stuff, we want to do meaningful stuff. Sure. So we're looking for some people. Yes, yes, we need just about everything you can think of, but right now I think our biggest need is a few committed people who can help articulate the next phase of the vision to the community so that they know what's happening, so that the borough can understand what we're doing and the residents can say, okay, this might be a resource that I hadn't thought of.
right. Perfect. Well, why don't we go in the building and we can show some of the viewers some of the things that are here and some of the great programming that's here. So
Sounds
let's
good.
head on in.
All right.
So the church owns the building, and
Correct.
you folks have a space here, but there's
right.
also some other outside businesses that
We
come
do.
in, right?
We do. We have lots of partners here at EPAC. One of them is Mike Louie Taekwondo. He has been here since day one. He's got family programs for kids of all ages. I think his favorite, don't tell him this, is the little guys
Nice.
and girls. He just likes teaching them
Nice.
respect and discipline and things that he thinks are very important to families.
That's
that happens
great.
in there. We've had banquets and private parties in that room.
Okay.
We do facility rental, which helps a little bit.
I was
to
going to
pay the
say it
bills.
all helps, right?
Yeah, because space is something of a premium here in the
sure.
borough. Up here we have Studio B, and I'll tell a quick story about Jo. Joe's dance, Studio Joe Dance is in here, and she was the first volunteer at the first work day that we had.
Oh, isn't
so
that wonderful?
This is not just somebody wanting to try to make some money on the side. I don't think she's ever taken home a penny from her business. She just loves children. She loves the borough. She's lived here all her life, and we have Fit for Moms does some exercise
Oh, that's
classes in here
great.
now.
Yeah, sure.
Kristen does private music lessons, and again, we'll have some birthday parties and corporate functions in here as well.
And you're helping young minds, which I love. Makes a real difference.
We love kids. Oh, we love kids so much.
Yeah, it's
Let me show you the
wonderful.
Power Packs
Sure.
project. They'll be happy that they didn't have a chance to pick up beforehand, but there's
No,
a lot
that's
happens
okay.
here. So, Power Packs project is a separate nonprofit that identified a need for kids that have free and reduced lunches during the week.
Absolutely.
They found that over the weekend they're not eating well. So there's an educational component coupled with bags of actual groceries to make meals like under $5. So the Real Life Church of God gives them the space here, and we support them. They have their own volunteers. They come in, they get food from the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank and from private donors, and they put together bags of groceries with recipes and meal plans and educational piece, and then take them out. We'll be serving 9 schools in the area this
You're
fall.
kidding.
Yeah.
So it is incredible. Do they get that at school, or do they deliver them?
East Petersburg families come right here since the stuff is right here.
Sure.
But every other school, they bus it right out there and the kids pick it up.
That's
pick it up.
great
Yeah.
because, we deal with the food bank quite a bit. Joe Arthur actually lives in the district who
Okay.
heads up Central PA Food Bank.
good.
Incredible man, incredible vision. And we have people who are hungry, which is hard to believe, right?
You don't think of it in the suburbs, but we have something like 39% of families, I think, that qualify right now.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's not
important.
good. Yeah.
So let's head on around.
Okay.
I'm going to let you lead,
All
sir.
right. So this is the Geneva Bakery Cafe.
Yeah.
They were partners from the
Day
beginning.
one,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Linda's
Yeah.
always been a big part of your of the vision of the Civic Center and the area. And how delightful to have some yummy goodies and coffee
nice
right
space,
in
isn't it?
town, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah, and for Linda, it's not just serving treats. She has a real heart for the community as well. We've done some refugee pop-up dinners, a lot of fundraising, and that's just kind of her heart for the community. But the coffee is great and the food is amazing.
Yeah, and so her hours, when did she open?
Tuesday through Saturday. They close on
Tuesday.
Monday. She
Okay.
opens Tuesday morning. Saturday they're open from 10 to 2.
Yeah, and anybody can stop in, and I'm sure
We like that.
Yeah, I'm sure she does. Does she do catering at all with it?
She
or-
does. In fact, the made-to-order portion of the business is really what helps them to be able to make ends meet here. So
Yeah.
order your pies and cakes here. They do a great job.
So I think that's a fantastic part of their business. But as I see, Linda not only bakes back here, but she does many, many different
Yes.
things. And she's over here.
Okay.
Let's find out what
Sure.
this next project's all about. Hi,
Hey.
Linda.
Hi.
You are a busy, busy lady.
I am.
I know. But listen, these signs caught my eye, so I want people to know what they're about.
Well, we're planning on putting these all over the town of East Petersburg. They're just positive messages. At the bottom, there's specific information if anybody's struggling. There's suicide prevention contact numbers and where you can text or chat to get information. If you're struggling and having a hard time, we just want to let you know that we care. East Pete cares about the community.
I tell you, that's a fantastic. We talk about it all the time up at the Capitol, right? And suicide is very, very real, and very real in our small communities, even though we think we live here in little paradise, but there are issues.
And we try to avoid talking about it, but that doesn't change it.
No.
To change it, we have to be willing to talk about
And listen, there's always hope. It's fantastic.
Yes.
So how do folks get these signs?
We will have additional signs at the East Petersburg Day event that is happening on September 14th.
Yep.
Do I have that date right?
Yeah, we talked about
And
that.
we'll have Alexa from Please Live there as well. She has a wealth of information about suicide prevention.
Oh, well, thank you, and thank you for sharing. And your bakery looks scrumptious. I'm
Thank
gonna have
you.
goodies too. Thanks. Now, if
Okay.
we can head
Yes,
upstairs,
let's
I
go.
know there's a lot of things happening up there.
Thanks,
So
Linda.
thanks.
So here's the best kept secret in the borough.
Yeah.
Behold.
Wow, look at this place. Yeah, lots can go on here.
Well, here's something. This is my friend Dave Knowles from
Hi,
TNT
Dave.
Youth.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Dave,
Yeah.
good to meet you. Good to see
So
you, bud.
you
Good to see
run
you,
the
Karen.
TNT program.
Yes, that's a program for children ages 5th through 8th grade, and it's from 6:30 to 8 o'clock every Thursday night.
Okay.
And we come out here and play games with them and just build relationship with them. It's amazing how much kids just want to have relationship with adults. And so that's our goal, is to build a relationship with them, provide a safe place for them to come and to have fun.
Yeah, and great to have a great mentor, right? Some of our youth really need some good, solid mentors, and it's hard.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. And what a space you have, right?
Yeah, it's a wonderful space to use. I mean, we've got everything we need here, from basketball to dodgeball to you name it, we got it. So we have a lot of fun.
Dave, how many kids are you getting on an average Thursday night now?
So we're getting somewhere between 30 and 40 kids to come out every Thursday night. And
wonderful.
we really could use some more adults to come out. We need some help in trying to, we want to have 5 to 7 adults here at a time for that many kids. So if you're interested, we really could use some more help.
Yeah, so how do they get, just by word of mouth, how do kids know about it?
A lot of it is by word of mouth. We do have a website that they can go to.
Okay, what's that website?
It's TNTYouthMinistry.com.
Okay.
And that has all of our information there of how to get involved and what our hours are and all of that.
That's great. That's great. Wow. And it's always great for kids to be able to get together in a relaxed atmosphere. And sometimes they're not always, involved at school and different programs. So what a great outlet.
And this is very much Real Life Church of God wanting their space to be used. This is not the space that the East Pete Civic Center rents or operates in. This was the church saying that we believe our kids need a safe place to build relationships, and so that's basically a space that they let us use, and we're very grateful for that.
Our small communities are blessed, I'll tell you, and thank you to people like you who are part of it. East Petersburg is just, again, another little gem in the 37th district, and it was great spending the day in it. So I want to thank you folks for spending the day with us and learning more about East Petersburg Borough. If you have any questions, I of course have an office on the square in Manheim and one up in Denver. Any state-related items you can always call. I always have an open door policy. So thanks for joining us today.